All right, guys, episode 33 of Beyond the Finish Line podcast, the podcast for runners of every pace, every distance, every goal. Today is a special episode. Today is a very special episode. Not only is it the recap of Sydney Marathon, it is George's first podcast as a sub 4 hour marathon runner. Georgia, how you doing, mate?
I'm so good. Fuck yeah. I'm so happy. How could I not be good after what was the best day ever yesterday?
Yeah, it was it was 18 months of, I feel like I achieved something too. It was 18 months of hard work for both of us that finally got across the line.
You definitely did achieve something yesterday. And for those of you who are new here, you are speaking to Georgia. I am a 5-time marathon runner, a sub 4 hour marathon runner, finally. And I am with my co-host, Matt. He is a marathon runner, an ultra marathon runner, and an endurance coach. And he happens to be my coach who has got me across the line in sub 4 hours. So yes, Matt, you did achieve something yesterday. You killed it as the best coach ever.
It was, thank you for rescuing the intro. I just wanted to give you that little chunk at the start where it was just all about you. But then you brought it back. So
no rescue needed, Matt. You know what? I like that. I feel like, you needed some recognition there, my friend. Don't doubt the fact that you definitely achieved something. And for anyone who's new here, who's jumping on board on the best episode ever, welcome.
Yeah, I feel like we've had, when we first started the podcast, it was all about me trying to break 10 in the Ironman, but you were well and truly into marathon. Oh, actually, no, you were getting ready for London. And you're still sort of tossing and turning about whether we're going to do it for London, and we decided not to. But then we went London, Ironman, Cairns, and now we've done sub 4 in Sydney. It's been a while. When you break it down like that, it's been a busy 9 months.
It really has, and one of our first episode was our goals for this year. And, your goal was your sub 10, and we talked a lot about failure and stuff like that. And, my big goal was my sub 4, especially off the back of Sydney Marathon last year. I was so disappointed. And so, last year with my 4 hours and 36 seconds, you and I sat down and we really decided, okay, we're going to give this our all and make it happen. And I don't want to say there was a lot riding on it, but I feel like there was when you're putting stuff out on the internet and saying, welcome to the sub 4 diaries, which I've been documenting since May. I feel like there's a bit on it.
I've been documenting sub 10 for a year and a half, so don't worry about that. You'll be right.
True.
Yeah.
No, yeah, it has been a busy 9 months. You and I have been, we've been working together as coach and athlete for 18 months now. And I came on board quite early on to the performance project. And one of my big goals has always been sub 4. Had a couple of marathons where I didn't quite get there, but I think yesterday was the accumulation of all of the races that didn't quite get there, everything I've learned, and I put it all into action for what I think has been the best race I've ever done. So I'm really excited to get stuck into it.
It was definitely your best marathon you've ever done by far. Strictly from a data perspective, even if you take the result out, even if you had run 4:01, in terms of consistency and performance, heart rate control, everything was the best you've ever done. It's interesting. There's this quote that I really like from business, and I've been trying to think of a way to transfer it to endurance. And the quote is, when money meets experience, experience gets the money and money gets the experience. So it's if a really experienced person in business finds someone new in business, chances are they get the better side of the deal, and then the newer person goes, oh, I learned that lesson and I'll be better off for it. There is something about when you accumulate enough experience as an endurance athlete and you're able to put it together on race day, and that's what you did on the weekend. You took all of the learnings, all of the failures in training, failures in races, and took them all as learnings and put it together when it mattered most. And it was really special to watch from my perspective as well.
Oh, that's so nice. I really did. It was a lot of a lot of learnings that you've taught me over the last 18 months and a lot of things that I've learnt along the way from myself, and I've grown a lot. And I think lots of things came together really well yesterday. Don't get me wrong, it was tough, but we'll go through all of that. But we've had a really nice weekend. You and I caught up for dinner on Friday night with all of the other athletes, and we had a great kind of night bonding with everyone. 3 athletes went home with some epic awards that they really deserved, which is really nice. Matt made a very nice speech. He was very sentimental, which is really nice. It was nice to see that side of you again. I don't see it all the time, but it was nice to see that.
No, I've got to be the constant. I have to be emotionless for as long as I can. Otherwise, because if I go up and down as a coach, athletes follow me. If I am constant and I am consistent, athletes are constant and consistent. Yeah. So it's very important as a coach that you remain a constant. But sometimes even though I did not train for Sydney Marathon, I feel like I have done just as much. I've been involved in it. I've ridden the highs and lows, even if I haven't shown it as much as you guys. So sometimes it is hard not to show emotion, especially you got so many guys on debut, so many guys who are just like, I have trained my whole life for this moment. Like I never thought I'd be able to run a marathon and it is tomorrow. And you're just like trying to keep everything in and you're just like, I know you, because I know what they don't. I'm like, I know you're going to do it. I know you're fit enough. I know the training you've done is harder than what the marathon is, but you can't, no matter how well you explain it, it doesn't register. Yeah. And I'm just like, you're going to do it. You're going to do so well. And you just got to try and keep everything all inside. It's tough.
Yeah, I think people probably think you're just saying that to be, encouraging, but you definitely did mentally train for Sydney Marathon because you deal with all of our messages and our breakdowns and all that kind of stuff. So it is very helpful that you're constant, because if you're not constant, I'd be a mess.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And like, think about it. If you're not a constant either, like if someone message you, they're almost afraid to message you or ask questions because they don't know the response they're going to get back. They don't know if you're going to be angry, sad, whatever. She's like, no, this is cool. This is how we're going to fix it next. Like that's how you have to be. And then they're like, oh, okay, that was not so bad. I'll ask again. And then they communicate more. And the more they communicate, the better athlete they become.
Yeah. And then Saturday, you had a morning scoping out the course and stuff like that. And then we had our shakeout run for the podcast, which is epic.
So good.
I didn't end up doing a final head count, but we had quite a few people there.
Yeah, between like 50 and 80, I reckon, something like that.
Yeah, I think it was a tricky time of day. Because
it was.
I had work and there was a lot happening in the morning on the Saturday. We had chosen to do it in the afternoon. And I think a lot of people were like, oh, I can't be bothered.
Yeah, a lot of people did their run in the morning. They were done.
So,
which is fair enough. Next year we'll make George take the day off work and
I'll take the whole weekend. But I think we had so many incredible people. I know we had some incredible people come down. It was
unreal stories.
So awesome so many epic stories, meeting, some wonderful people of all walks of life who were doing either their first marathon or, their 5th, 6th, 7th marathon. It was really, really cool. And it was nice to hear everyone, chatting to Matt and talking about things that they loved on the podcast and talking about how Matt had said that no one could come up to me. It surprised me how many people actually listen to the podcast when they tell you in real life.
They got scared.
Oh, dear. So, do you want to jump into some highs and lows, Matt, or do you want to do that at the end? When do you want to do it?
I mean, Jesus, highs and lows. Like, where do you get started after that?
I know, it's tricky.
Like, it's the biggest week of our year, Sydney Marathon. It was the Performance Project's most athletes. We had 25 athletes run, 22 PBs. It was just wild. Like, you can't, even the 2 people who did not PB, they beat the expectations that we set in training. They were coming off injuries. We had 1 DNF due to a calf injury, but we kind of knew that was 50-50 getting on the start line. We're just like, got to roll the dice. We couldn't defer or anything. So got 17 Ks in and unfortunately just didn't go the way we wanted to, even though we were conservative, but is what it is.
Is what it is. You can't help it. Like if your calf goes, you can't even try to keep running. You've got to DNF.
Just done. So it wasn't even like you could walk it. It's like, if you don't do a hammy or a quad, it sucks, but you can kind of walk. But calf, you just buckled. So
yeah. That happened to a friend of mine last year, and he's an elite, like Paddy. His calf. I'm sure it was his calf. He said he just heard it go, and he's like, I had to DNF. He goes, there's no way you can even try. So I totally understand that. So you're a poor athlete, but anyway, there's always next year.
Yeah. And I spoke to him this morning. He's tough as teak, so he'll just be he's going to take a week or two to decompress and get ready. And he's already eyeing off some other goals, so there'll be no stopping him.
Bless.
Yeah, and then obviously not just Georgia, but her husband Nick, arguably.
Holy crap! Wow.
Like, just to talk about a power couple performing on the big day. Like, Nick went out and ran 3:26 off the top of my head, or 3:28.
3:28 maybe.
3:28 maybe. He ran unbelievable. Just unbelievable. There was less than a 3-second deviation in pace across his 5K blocks from start to finish, which is on the Sydney course, unreal.
Which was really rocking him the night before. He was just like, I do not have much to. Sorry, I just took 2 minutes off his time. 3:26:57.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
He was really like the night before. He was like, I don't have any margin for error, and that was really kind of stressing him because I had a buffer, like I had a decent buffer that I could work with, whereas he was like, I have to nail my paces the whole time. So for him to come off with the time, not only sub 3:30, but like a solid, 3 and a bit minutes extra, crazy.
Yeah, and again, different things for different athletes. So Nick, I do videos for all of the athletes pre-race and show them. The reason I do the videos is I tell them the goal, like, this is what you want to achieve, this is how we're going to achieve it, and then I reverse engineer and I show them all the key sessions from the training block. Yeah. So I'm like, hey, look, you did that here, you did that here, you did that here. So now it's not this big scary thing. It's actually, I've done it over and over and over again. And we showed Nick that he can run on the dot to the second for 33-ish kilometers. I'm like, you can do it, dude. Like, it's fine. You just got to be locked in. And he just was locked in. And like, and someone like you, Georgia, you have a tendency to fluctuate. You can run a little bit quicker. You can run a little bit slower. You average out very well, but sometimes you just go a little bit too fast, a little bit too slow. So that we have to give you a bit of a buffer. And then you've got other athletes who can sit. Who when we spoke about it in our pacing episode, they can like neg split it and they just do it naturally. It's not a conscious effort. Yeah. Someone like this won't mean anything to anyone, but Jordan and Elise, who both PR'd, both ran nearly 3:45s, 3:46 and 3:48 respectively. Yeah. Who were going for sub 4 and sub 4:30. Like those girls can both neg split. So yeah, we give them a slightly different tactic, but it's I can't remember what the original question was. I went off on a bit of tangent there, but it was just
highs and lows. He had a great time, guys.
I'm on such a high. Like when you have 22 athletes PB, like it's unreal. Like emotional day. I'm still emotional about it now. I actually have to like keep everything in check.
I can tell. Yeah. I can see that in Matt. So we'll let him compose himself for a second. Yeah. But honestly, how do you even come up with a high and low after the weekend we've had? Yeah. We've really consciously got to bring ourselves a little bit back down to neutral so that we don't crash and burn in the week to come. But
yeah, that's why I give everyone the week off.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I just have to go, you know what? Got to bring it down a little, bring it, back to earth. So, yeah, everyone knows my high, so we don't need to get into that. But, we should probably kick things off on this race day recap.
Sub 4 race day recap. Sydney Marathon 2025. Georgia runs a marathon. Let's go.
Let's go. So I got up at, oh my God, an ungodly hour. It's like 3 a.m. Had a really good night's sleep, I can't believe it. I never have a good night's sleep before a race, but I was so tired. I was out cold. So yeah, Jimmy, Matt's videographer.
do you want to tell them about Jimmy first, or do you want to not?
Yeah, sure. No.
Okay.
Let's talk. Look, so I don't know how long ago it was now, maybe a couple of months ago, Matt surprised me and said he has his videographer, Jimmy, from Jim Media. Is that how you pronounce it? Yeah. Who did all of Matt's Ironman at Cairns videography. He did some awesome reels for Matt. He was coming down to Sydney for the weekend and he was going to be there to document my sub 4 hour for me, which was absolutely phenomenal. I was so grateful. It still blows my mind. So that was kind of, that was Matt's thank you to me for some stuff that I've been doing behind the scenes, which is really, really kind. I met Jimmy Friday night and then he came to our shakeout run. So then on Saturday afternoon, we shot some stuff down in the harbour and in the park together just to get some behind the scenes stuff.
Have you seen the harbour clips?
No, I haven't seen anything. I've only...
Honestly, they are so good. They are like, we talk about one-of-one content. It's like, we got some epic stuff.
Oh, cool. How exciting. I've seen like bits and pieces in the little reel he sent through, but I don't know what's from the day of and what's from that. Anyway, so the morning of Jimmy came over super early. Poor guy came over at about 4:15 in the morning and kind of shot me having breakfast, getting ready, pinning my bib, all of that kind of stuff. Which is really nice. It's nice he kind of caught some moments of Nick and I just, chatting and all that sort of stuff. And we ended up getting an Uber over to the start line just because, it's just so much easier. I'm very fortunate that, we live very close to the city and so we can afford to do that. So we just got an Uber to the start line, which is really nice. And then met up with you, Matt, and your partner, Sam, and a couple of other athletes and did a bit of a warm up before I went into the orange gates. But I felt pretty calm. How do you think I seemed on the morning of?
I was quietly confident with just, especially comparing it to last year. Last year at the Gold Coast, I actually didn't come to Sydney last year, but last year at the Gold Coast, you were noticeably anxious. Yeah. And then even thinking back to last year at Sydney, you messaged me a lot morning of. While this year you were just calm. Like everything about you was calm, and that was the first big green tick for me. I'm like, oh, you can just go do your thing. Like I didn't really talk to you. I was just like, she's ready. Same with Nick. Like both of you were just very just focused. I think that's the best way to do it. The best way to describe it is just quietly confident, focused, like just didn't feel like nothing felt out of place. Everything felt routine. Just, everything was just as it should be.
Yeah, I felt really calm and focused. Everyone kept saying to me in the days leading, how are you feeling? Which is so kind. Everyone was like, do you feel confident? Like, are you nervous? And I was like, you know what? I think for the first time in my life, I've never been so confident in myself and my abilities. And I think, that morning I was a little bit nervous. My hands were shaking, all this kind of, pre-race jitters. But, the routine was down pat. I'd been practicing it on all of my long runs, the months prior. Getting there, I knew exactly where I had to be. I walked in, I had my head down pretty much. I didn't really talk to too many people. Got in the chute, got chatting to a really nice guy from Melbourne. And then I just remembered what Matt said and was just like, you got to focus. So I pretty much just said to him, I was like, nice chatting to you. Have a great race. And I just put my head down and I was like, I don't want to get too distracted. And then we got called up to the start. And before I knew it, they were like, go. And so I had no choice. And so first 10Ks is pretty much like super scenic. You're running over the harbour bridge. It's very easy to get carried away. A lot of it's downhill. Matt and I had spoken about filming. A really big thing for me was to not film during the race. And I do actually think that helped a lot. I knew I had Jimmy along the course at certain parts filming me. And so I wasn't worried about content. I knew the first couple of Ks when I was running across the bridge, I was running below marathon pace. So I was like, okay, I'm going to get one good video here that's going to then, I guess, satiate me for the run. I was like, I'm going to get one. I'm really calm. It's flat. So I got a nice video of myself running over the harbour bridge. And I was like, that's all I need. I put my phone away, didn't even think about it the rest of the race. And I really just like locked in. But I did really struggle the first 10K to find my pace. My watch was all over the place, naturally, just because so many people, tunnels, bridges, all that kind of stuff. The GPS was a bit everywhere. So I'd kind of look down and it'd be, 6-minute pace. And then it was like 5:10, 5:30, and then 6:45. And I was like, what the heck is happening here? So it's like, okay, you've practiced running by feel. So just run by feel and hopefully it's somewhere where it needs to be. And so for the first 10K, I just pretty much ran by feel, which turns out I was running pretty much on pace, which is really good.
When we say pretty much on pace, you hit it to the second. And this is like one thing, like why we stress about it all the time. For everyone listening, everyone like in the whole prep for Georgia, is like we just said, like you need to prepare for all sorts of situations.
Yeah.
And we do so much just based on Georgia's zone 2 running is all based on feel. Like she just has heart rate on a watch. That's it. So she knows what slightly harder than zone 2 is. And so when her watch wasn't working or wasn't playing the game as it should, she just defaulted to slightly harder than zone 2 and knew exactly what to do. And she hit it perfectly. So that's why it's important it's just important to have all of these little tools in your tool belt.
Yeah. And the proof is in the pudding. Like, I mean, just to run by feel and I was nailing my pace I was impressed by myself. And, just like speaking of watch, like another thing that kind of went wrong was Matt had programmed my run so that it'd notify me every 10K block of what kind of time I should have hit on my watch, not so the course time, just so that I knew that I'd look down and be like, okay, at, 10K I should be
56:30.
Yeah. And so the actual notification wasn't coming up properly. And I was like, okay, that didn't go to plan. That's okay. I don't have it written on my arm. And I was like, all right, let's do some like math in your head at what you think it should be around. And we'll just hope that that's okay. And so, I just had to kind of go, all right, let's kind of use all of the knowledge that I have. And hopefully that helps. I was being really good and not chatting to people. And this is kind of where what Matt had said had kind of came about. Was one of my friends, Hayley, she has a podcast called The Women's Running Collective and we've become really good friends. And she saw me on course. I was like, Hayley, hi, how are you? How are you feeling? And she goes, Georgia, focus. You're not allowed to talk. And I was like, okay.
Shout out, Hayley.
I know, we love it. So she knew exactly what I had to do. And so she was like, keep going. And so many people were just coming up and going, hi, Georgia. Like they just tapped me on the shoulder. Hey, Georgia, good luck. You've got this. And then they'd run off. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. Like, everyone was just being really respectful of the fact that they knew that I was head down, bum up. And so, lots of highs in the first 10, but a lot of people just left me alone. But as I was coming around Barangaroo, 10Ks in, I knew that I had to be on the left-hand side to see Matt. And I hadn't quite seen him yet, so I was like, I don't know where he is. Anyway, and someone yelled out my name and they're like, sub 4, and I waved. And you just hear Matt go, focus, like this, like really loud. And it was like my teacher was yelling at me because I snapped back into gear and I was like, oh, shit. Yep, Georgia, don't be silly. Like, pull it together.
Excuse me, and then what happened? You gave me the finger.
Oh.
Fucking bitch.
I was like, I don't know if he saw that.
Yeah, I did. As she was running away, when she was just out of me yelling at her again, she gave me the finger. Yeah.
And it's so funny because the person who yelled out to me to like say, hi, Georgia, like that, she filmed it. And so you can hear her going like, hey, Georgia, and me like waving, being all happy. And then you can hear Matt in the video that she took say focus. And then you see me run off and do the finger. But I knew
perfect timing.
Oh, and I was like, you know what? I know he'll know that I'm joking. And so I didn't really care, but it was just funny. And so that honestly snapped me into the headspace. I was like, Georgia, this is what we spoke about. Pull it together. And so then I saw Jimmy. He started running with me for ages. Poor guy, videographer. He's got his big camera set up, which is very heavy. And he was keeping up with me at 5:30 for probably at least a couple of kilometers he ran with me, which is awesome. But, it was about that point that my whole left leg went completely numb, which was a bit concerning because my back was hurting and I was like, why is my leg numb? This is not good. And I was like, okay, just maybe like move your toes. I was like, maybe it's my shoes. I don't know, but I couldn't work it out. It eventually went away, but that was so odd. Have you ever had that happen to you?
It's just mind games. Your body, weird things happen on race day. Like,
yeah,
just you start getting phantom pains, things happen. You're like, oh, and because you're so hyper aware of everything that's going on race day, you want everything to run perfect. Something that might be a 1 out of 10 in real life all of a sudden becomes a 9, and you're like, oh no, like, is this a DNF? Like, where's the ambulance? Like, what's happening? Am I shutting down? And you're just like, it's actually just a 1. Like, you're fine.
Oh,
like
honestly.
When we talk about, when we get talk about like around that 28 kilometer mark, like that's, again, that advice I gave to you, but we'll get to that when we get to it.
Yeah, the leg thing was, probably definitely a mind game thing. It was just odd. I was like, oh, God, this is such an odd feeling. But yeah, speaking of kind of bodily stuff, like my quad wasn't even hurting, which was amazing. It was sore in the warm up, but then as soon as I started running, didn't even feel it. Adrenaline kicked in there. But then like my hip, which has been really good the last couple of months, it started hurting. So I was like, oh God, like, come on, give me a break. And so I just had to put the pain aside. I was like, get over it, Georgia. Now's not the time to worry. So yeah, that was 10K. And then the next 10K block was pretty much through the city and out and up Oxford Street, which was quite a hilly part of the course. So through the city, there's a lot of dog legs, a lot of turns, a lot of people. I usually love the people. Usually the people make me so happy and emotional and I love it, but I really found it quite overwhelming. I found the cheering and the screaming and the like so many people so close because it's such a narrow course in some parts. I found that really overwhelming. I wasn't getting emotional. I was getting like panicky. And so I just had to make a decision to just try and breathe and kind of shut it out a little bit. And I did my, like so many people yelling out, which was absolutely phenomenal. Like it helped having Georgia on my top so people recognized me, but I just made sure I just smiled and kept running. I was like, I don't want to be a shit person, but also it's overwhelming me. So I was like, okay, just try and focus. And so, yeah, coming up through the city was really cool. I saw my mum and my mother-in-law. They had a big sign, which was obviously very nice. Didn't know they were going to be there, so that was really cool. And then coming up Oxford Street, I saw the elites run past, which I didn't think I would get to see. So that was really cool to see, Kipchoge run past and everyone, so many people just stopping, like they're just in their race and stopping to film. And I was like, wow, that's a choice. But I guess if you're just running it for fun, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, how many times do you get to share the course with Kipchoge or someone like that, So like, if you're, like you said, if you're not chasing a certain time or whatever, why not take that opportunity? Like you last year probably would have stopped and filmed that.
Totally. Yeah. I would have. I definitely would have. It was amazing to see so many people just completely stopped in their tracks, like just to watch him run past for 2 seconds. And at one point I was like, wow, this is really amazing. I've literally crossed paths running with Kipchoge. And so that was kind of like a little spur, gave me a little bit of a boost, which then got me out to Moore Park and through to Kingsford, which is all kind of your 15 through to 25 kilometers. So that was long, flat. I remember saying to myself, you're home, Georgia, that's kind of the area that I'm from. And so I really settled in there. I was like, this is where you really settle in. This is where you know your pace. You breathe, just don't take anything in around you. Just focus on your foot and focus on each step and, focus on the nutrition. Having that little bottle that you suggested I get was such a game changer for me. I reckon I probably only stopped at 4 aid stations, 2 to refill my little flask and 2 I just grabbed water at because I was just like craving some cold water. And having that little bottle, so like every time I went past an aid station, I wasn't worrying about bumping into people or anything, but I was like, okay, now's your time to drink. So I'd have some drink out of my flask and meant I was taking in all of my nutrition really well because I wasn't spilling it all over me. And I was, I had a gel at every 5 kilometers. So that was really helpful. Instead of every half an hour, I was like, yep, just every 5K, have a gel, have some water, do all of that. And so the nutrition was really on point. But yeah, after about 25 kilometers, between 25 and 28, I was starting to feel a little bit dizzy, a little bit sick. And that's where I saw you, Matt. Do you want to, what did you see when you saw me for the first time? Because I didn't know you were going to be there. So it was nice to see you.
Yeah.
What happened?
I mean, I was very confident at that point. I was just like, everything is just ticking along like clockwork. I had all of your live data, and I was just like, she's just doing it. Like, that was it. I'm pretty sure I said that to Sam. Sam was like, what are you going to tell her? I'm like, she's fine. Like, that was it. That was just the message. She's fine. And then we saw you come along, and we saw Nick. Went for a bit of a run with Nick for half a kilometre or so, and had a yarn to him, and then sent him on his way. Then you came along, and yeah, just my whole goal was to just let you know that everything was fine and like keep your emotions in check. Like, that was it.
Yeah, and it's so funny how things happen at the right time because, as I said, I didn't know that Matt was going to be there at that point. I thought he was going to be in the park because I think the videographer Jimmy had said, "Oh, we'll see you in the park." So I was like, "Okay, cool, whatever." And yeah, it was at that point I really needed some advice, and I was not feeling very well, and I was trying to take my gels in, and I just couldn't stomach them very well. And so I saw Jimmy, the videographer, and he was kind of running a little bit. And then I saw Matt run up beside me, and I was like, oh, thank God, I need this so much right now. And I remember you said to me, like, how are you going? And you were so calm, and you were like, how are you going? And I was like, I'm okay, but I feel a little bit sick and a little bit dizzy. And you were like, okay, have a gel, have some water. You're doing really well. Your pace is all on point. Like, you're nailing everything. You're doing it. And I was like, oh, okay. And you're like, keep it up. Like, you're really strong. And at that point I was like, oh, okay, yep, right. Yes, boss. Like, gel in, fluids in straight away. And I ran with Jimmy for a bit. I could see him running next to me, which kind of gave me a boost as well, because obviously your form naturally improves when there's a camera around.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, pull it together. You got to look good for this freaking doco. And so, yeah, it was kind of around there. And I knew that I was going to see lots of people I knew in the park. So that, to me, I was like, all right, pull it together. This is going to be great. You're home. You're in your favorite place. Like, use that to your advantage. And so from 28 through to 30 something, I can't remember, was in the park, and I was home, and it's somewhere I run 4 or 5 times a week. And so I was like, okay, you know this, like, you can be calm through here. And I felt strong, and the kind of the word from all of my friends was like, you looked really strong and confident. My friend Anthony, he said, you went in looking really focused and you came out looking really happy, which to me is like, job well done, because I didn't come out broken. There's been years where I've come out of the park absolutely broken. And so, yeah, saw lots of people I know. And then thank God they cut out the hill at Moore Park there, because that would have absolutely killed my life. And I was just like, all right, from here until 40 kilometers, until 39, 38 kilometers, it's all downhill. This is where you lock in, use the hill to your advantage, conserve some energy, have some gels, get through it. And so that was really cool running through there, because again, so many people just yelling out. It was very dense with, the crowd and stuff. And so lots of people yelling sub 4, lots of people being like, Georgia, you're doing it. Heaps of people were like, you're on track, babe, keep going, which is really cool, because, that those people are actually tracking you. So lots of encouragement, which is really nice. But the park was pretty tough. So I apologize to anyone on here that I said not to worry and that it's not too bad, because I've done that run many times and it's been fun, but that was absolutely fucking brutal. And I felt really guilty that I was like, I told everyone this was fine and I'm fucking struggling. So yeah, but got through it. So I was pretty locked in there, and a couple of people messaged me today saying they saw me in the park, but they knew they had to leave me alone. So I'm very grateful that they did.
Yeah, I'm very glad that people took me seriously.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to have to find you guys. I will. If someone fucked with this time.
Yeah, it's like, oh gosh, yeah. I was not feeling too great in the park, so I'd run out of water, so that was one of the aid stations I had to actually get a cup at. So I grabbed a cup, grabbed a gel. I was like, I've only got 2K, but I need something right now. So I was slowly having a caffeine gel.
When experience, like,
yeah.
A lot of people would be like, I don't know what to do in that situation.
Yeah.
But you've been there before.
Yeah. And no matter how much time you've got left, if you need some fuel in the tank, I was like, okay, I need fuel. You got to do it. You can't stomach it, but you've got to do it. So, yeah, I threw down a Morton gel, and then I saw you, and I just remember you leaning over the fence, and you were like, "You're going to do it. Like, how bad do you want this? Like, you are going to do it. You're on track. Like, you've got this." And I was like, "Fuck, okay, yep, all right." And Jimmy, the videographer, was like, "How bad do you want this, Georgia?" Like, he's screaming at me and running next to me because he knew, and he was just like, "Go, like, full send it, send it, send it." And
it was so interesting for us because, so where George is talking about right now, it's the top of Macquarie Street as you turn down that last sort of 1.5K, 1.3, whatever it is. And Jimmy and I were like, because Georgia didn't explain stuff. We didn't just do some social media stuff for her sub 4. We're actually making a mini documentary about 20 minutes long for the performance project, like documenting the whole weekend, day, all that sort of stuff, her whole journey. We were trying to work out, it's like, how quick does she need to be going for us to get the shot of me going, "You're gonna fucking do it, like, go." Because Jimmy was following her along the top of Macquarie Street, stopping at me and like yelling at Georgia, like, this last little bit. And we're like, she needs to be at this pace. And like, you actually had a couple of minutes up your sleeve, but it was such a heated debate between us two of like, what should we do? Because if you were like right on the cusp and I yell something something goes wrong in that last 1K, like, and you didn't get it, it's like, fuck, like. But no, you were cruising. Like, I knew you were home well before that, but like, we still were having a very heated conversation about it.
yeah, of course. And I was doing that math, like that thing where you really got to calculate, okay, there's quite a lot of points where I really had to go, okay, how many kilometers, how fast am I going? What do I need to run to get this? And I remember running over the 40K marker, and I looked down at my watch and I was like, I've got 15 minutes. I was like, okay, so at 5:30, that gives me, 11 minutes. And then like obviously a 4-minute buffer. And I was like, okay. And then this is uphill. So I was like, all right. I got to send this. Like, I know I've got a buffer, but I've just got to go. And I was like, I still had trust issues with my watch. And I was like, I still don't know. I need a bigger buffer. And so, yeah, I just started going. And as I turned onto Macquarie Street after seeing you, again, I was on ASIC's corner, which I know a lot of people who work for ASIC's, and I could hear them all yelling at me. And coming down Macquarie Street, I could hear the people start like going like sub 4, like, I'm not even over exaggerating. Like, it is crazy to me that this even happened. And yeah, I saw my mom and my mother-in-law and, family members and my best friend. And then I was like, okay, I'm not far to go. I've got to send it. But my legs weren't going any faster. And I was like, I'm trying to sprint, but they're not going faster. I was like, okay. And then there's this tunnel part right at the end. And I just heard someone be like, "You fucking got the sub 4, Georgia, send it." And so I just absolutely sent it. And I came in and I was like, I have a really good feeling. And I crossed over the finish line, and I know I had my face in my hands, which a lot of people would have already seen the footage from ASICS for that. And I knew there was a photographer there and stuff like that. And I was like, okay, this is good. And I knew that I'd just seen Matt, and we'd spoken about maybe possibly getting some footage at the finish line where Matt could tell me my time. And I wasn't sure whether or not that was going to happen. And because I'd already seen him, I was like, there's no way he's going to get down here in time. And so I said to the guy I knew from ASICS who had the video, like his camera there, and I was like, can you tell me my time? Because I don't know my time yet. And I was like, can you pull it up and tell me on camera? And he's like, oh my God, yes, let's do it. And so he captured that moment, which will be really cool to see. Hopefully they can send that over. But yeah, and then he said to me, he's like 3:57. And I was like, oh my God, I've done it. And I've never felt such relief. It was just such an amazing experience. And there was a few people in the finish line who I knew. There was a guy that actually, funnily enough, he saw me last year crying, and he came up and was like, "Are you okay? Like, can I help you with anything?" And he was this lovely, lovely guy. And I was like, "It's okay. I just didn't get my time. I'm really upset." And then we crossed at the same time. And he's like, "I don't know if you remember me, Georgia, but last year, I saw you. You were so upset." He's like, "Please tell me, did you get your sub 4?" And I was like, "I did." And he gave me a hug. He's like, "I'm so proud of you." And I was like, fuck, I love this community. Like, these people are just so amazing. And so, yeah, that's my kind of experience. And we came back up into the park and I saw Nick, and Nick told me his time and we both cried. And then I saw you, Matt, and you gave me the biggest hug ever. And you were like, I'm so fucking proud of you. And I was just like, oh my God, I'm a mess. Like, you know, like you don't hear anything from Matt much. You know, he's like, yep, keep going, lock in, lock in, lock in. And then, you know, when your mate's like, I'm so proud of you, you're just like, oh, for fuck's sake, I'm going to cry again. So, yeah.
I think also it's a little coaching trick too, is like when, if you are kind of like that constant, like we spoke about earlier, when you do let emotion out, it hits people harder. So that's like when you see certain people on the course at certain athletes on the course at certain times, you can really tailor your message. So if they're like really hurting, you're like, you can be like, this is the
fire
time
them up.
Fire them up. Yeah. And then like, if they're going out a little bit too hot, you can like really give them that steely sort of, yo, that's not the plan. Like fucking lock in. So it's just, little coaching tricks up your sleeve.
And look, this is why you are an amazing coach. And I'm very grateful, because without like all of your hard work, I mean, getting a little bit soppy here, but without all your hard work, I definitely couldn't have got where I am. And, you know, with over 50 minutes taken off my marathon time in 18 months is absolutely incredible. And so, and, you know, such a huge amount taken off Nick's marathon time as well. You've been coaching him. And so, yeah, absolutely phenomenal day. We finished off, we got to cheer in all the other athletes, and all of my family and friends were there. And then I went up to Jimmy's rooftop and celebrated. So, yeah.
How was the celebrations?
Yeah, good. It's actually so funny. I was like, I'm going to get a cocktail. I haven't had one in months. I haven't been drinking. And then they were like, oh, sorry, we're not doing cocktails. And I was like, well, that's my sign. I'll have a Coke. I was like, I take it as a sign. I do not need the alcohol. I was like, I'll have a Coke. So I had a Coke and some chips. And then, waddled my way home and got home and curled up on the couch, and my back was absolutely killing me. And we ordered some Thai and I watched a movie.
Perfect.
I think I was in bed at 8:30, which is like a world record for me. Yeah.
So you should be after a marathon.
I know. I think I'd crawled into bed at about 8, and then I was out cold by 8:30. So yeah, it was an amazing day, and I'm so grateful. So many incredible messages online. So much so that I was a little bit overwhelmed today, that I was like, I don't know how to answer everyone. So yeah.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's not just a huge weekend. It's just that it's been a big 18 months. Like, even when we weren't necessarily working towards sub 4 as like our primary focus, it was in the back of all of our heads, even Nick as well. Like, obviously Nick is a part of this, even though he doesn't have the public spotlight that necessarily we put on ourselves.
Yeah.
So it's just a wild journey. Like, I had to be careful about what I was saying, because I was like getting goosebumps and shaking a little bit, because like it means so much to me that not just you, but all of our athletes go out there and get to experience it. But obviously you and I have been working together for so long now. It's just remove the podcast, remove our friendship, all of that stuff. Like it doesn't mean any more or any less. Like it's still when you work with someone for so long and they finally get that goal, it's just a special day. So. Yeah. I was actually thinking about this today, and this is just fucking my coach brain, is athletes have these things like little plateaus. So it's like, do you know, I can't remember if I've said the story on this podcast before, if it was on a different one. Do you know the story about Roger Bannister and the 4-minute mile?
Look, we've had this before where you've said, do I know a story? And I say no. And then you've already told me it.
But this
instant, I'm going to say I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't think it was this podcast. This is where it gets confusing, because I've got a couple going at the moment.
Okay, that's fine. I would love you to tell the story for the listeners anyway, but I'm just going to put on the record that if Matt has told me, I'm sorry, I forgot.
I might have said this before. I am known to tell a story more than once. Have I told you the story about marathon?
Only OG will listen.
Yeah, only OG will know that. Jeez, we came out of the blocks hot. Cool. So Roger Bannister was the first man to run a 4-minute mile, and basically everyone said physically impossible, mentally impossible. Like, people thought your lungs would explode, that you would need to be like run that fast and take in that much oxygen and stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, so no one broke it forever and ever and ever. He broke it within the same under 12 months, I don't remember exactly what it was, 6 to 12 months, like 5 people broke the record.
You've
like
definitely told this story. I remember now, and it's a great story.
Okay.
Good. Yeah.
So athletes have this thing where they set this time in their head and they're like, sub 4 hour marathon. And they're like, fuck, I just want to do a sub 4 hour. I just want to do a sub 4 hour. And it's like, realistically, you improved like 3.5% from last year to this year. And you're like, if you actually looked at that big picture, you're like, that's not a huge amount of improvement.
No, so, not compared to like first marathon to second marathon.
Exactly. Because you didn't know what was possible and you were just training hard and you went from 445, 450-ish down to like, let's just call it 4 flat.
Yeah.
And then, we trained wasn't 12 months. We trained like another 9 months. We take the hip and the honeymoon and the wedding out and stuff like that, 6 to 8 months. And you got essentially 3 to 4 minutes quicker. And so you're like, oh, fuck, that's not a lot. I'm wondering where your mental barrier breaks, where all of a sudden you're able to go. You see this all the time in athletes. They'll break through this and they work so hard to get that little bit of improvement, and they'll go from we'll use the 4 hours as an example, but they go 4 to 340, 330, 315. Like they just go bang, 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 bang and do a whole bunch of, and then they hit that next wall. I wonder if this is your breakthrough moment where then we are going to take some time off some big A races, but when you next line up for an A race, whether that's in 2 years or 3 years or whenever you decide it to be, if all of a sudden you're like, I'm going to run 340.
Yeah.
Like
that would be
I don't
interesting.
Know, I don't know if this is that moment for you, but all the big signs that you look for are there. Like trained all that time to get such a small improvement, you do it, which is awesome. Not taking away from the improvement,
no, of course.
But then it's like, okay, like the floodgates open, and you're like, okay, I can do that. Like now I don't know what I'm capable of, and you just go chase something.
Yeah, I actually really agree with you there. I think mentally it was just getting past that one barrier. We always just trained to get past the sub 4. And I think if I didn't have all the injuries, who knows? But now if I recover really well and hopefully, in a year or two's time, I can do another race and like really work hard and do a really big time. But, I think the proof there is within Nick as well. Last year, he ran just under sub 4 and not just
Nick's a prime example, yeah.
Yeah. So he ran sub 4 last year and then this year went out and did a 3:26. Like
basically did a 30-minute PB at that pace too, which is epic.
Incredible. And so, he's a prime example. My friend Ash, she all she wanted was a BQ, like a Boston qualifying time. And so at Gold Coast, she ran 3:17 or something insane, like absolutely insane. And then she wasn't even going to try her absolute hardest at Sydney, but then on the day just decided she was going to send it and see what happens. And she took 10 minutes off her time in 2 months because same thing, she broke that wall and she knew she was capable. And then that opened the floodgates to like being so much faster and all of these different things. And so, who knows what's in store? Maybe can break that, 3:45 or something. I think form will be a big one for me to improve. Even after yesterday, just seeing my form and stuff, I was like, so much needs to improve. And so, lots of things to work on this time around as opposed to last year. I had lots to work on and then I worked on it and I got my goal. So, yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's important that we tell the listeners that, Georgia has done 4 marathons in 12 months. Was it Gold Coast, Sydney, London, Sydney?
Just over 12 months, I think.
Yeah.
It was 5 in less than 24 months, but I think it was, maybe it is.
Gold Coast, Sydney, London, Sydney, yeah?
Yeah. So just over 12 months.
Yeah, that's like 14 months or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot when you actually put it that way.
Yeah. So she's run and don't include all the halves and all the countless training runs in between that.
Yeah.
We knew, probably didn't let on as much as we could have, but we knew like George's body was sort of holding on for holding on for grim death, for lack of a better term, skin of her teeth sort of stuff. So
my my chiro physio, he was like, mate, when we after London and I'd had the news that I'd had 2 tears and the bursitis and the tendinopathy, he was like, you need to make a decision. You either do Sydney and you get your goal and stuff, and then we work on putting you back together, or we put you back together now and you think about a race down the line. And I was like, will I be worse off doing Sydney, or will I like badly worse off? Or is it just going to be a bit of a setback? And he was like, no, it'll just be a setback. And so this whole time he's been metaphorically and physically taping me back together. And yeah, I do think my body is pretty much like holding on by a thread at the moment. Just like everything lower. I think my back post-marathon is a true sign that nothing is working properly as it should. So I'm definitely going to have to take some time to recover.
Yeah, which is what I was going to say for the listeners too, is like, if you have been even if you're a first timer and you've just gone out on debut, it's really important to take this time to reset, take a couple of weeks off. Like, none of my athletes will have any training this week. And even next week, it's like, we might do some light stuff. And then if you're a more experienced runner and you've put a really big block in, taking a good month just not train, especially if you're experienced, but like just any of those niggles, any of those things that you would normally push through in a block where you're like, oh, knees a bit sore, calves are a bit tight, and you go, well, I just got to go get my run in.
Yeah.
Take the time to get those sorted. Like, you're not going to lose a mass amount of fitness. All you're going to lose is conditioning. We've spoken about that on the podcast I don't know how many times. But now is the time to get your body right, because if you ignore it and then you start another block again, like, there were some serious times in this prep where Georgia was like, if I can't go sub 4, like, is it even worth running? And because she was in so much pain, so just broken down, it was, you don't want to go through that unless you're just like absolutely hell bent on a goal. And just take the time to get your body right, because you will be better off in the long term.
Yeah, I think, I'm getting a bit emotional. It's like, it's funny. It's not like it's just a goal. For me, it was very much about proving to myself that I could do something that I never thought I could do. And a lot of the time I was battling a lot with, it's just sub 4, Georgia. Like, so many people run so much faster than you. But there's so many people, and especially after yesterday, so many people messaged to say, thank you so much for showing me that goals that aren't necessarily hard for someone else is hard for me. Or, you've proven that just a normal runner can still have big goals that aren't elite goals. And I didn't want to give up on my sub 4 goal, because I really wanted to show everyone else that they could do it too. And I wanted to not give up on them. And I don't know, I had put a lot of pressure on myself to get this done. And, we always joked that I didn't want to let Matt down at all, because like, poor Matt had been through so much with me for 18 months. And I was like, I just want to make Matt proud, and I want to make the business proud. And, and a lot of people say you shouldn't put your goals out there, because then you actually are accountable with them. Whereas I feel the opposite. I feel like putting your goals out there makes you accountable. And I've loved documenting this process, but so many people were just like, thank you so much for sharing this journey with me and letting me be a part of this with you. And I really appreciate the fact that, you have shown us everything from the highs and the lows and your injuries. And, I've had hip problems and it made me feel a little bit better or something like that. And so, yeah, it's so hard to put into words. And it's been so amazing that so many people who are so much faster than me, so much more experienced, have been so encouraging. And even people who aren't as fast as me or haven't got this kind of goal, they've been so encouraging. And I think this is just a true testament to that. Like, running is about you and you only. And your goal is your goal, and that's all that matters. And, even if you're someone like me who doesn't have a runner's body, who doesn't look like a traditional runner, and, struggles with all the things that, you do, like injury, weight, appearance, all of those kinds of things, like, as long as you make yourself proud, that's all that matters. And so I really hope this whole experience has helped other people as well. And yeah, I just wanted to say thank you, and sorry for getting a little bit emotional there. Oh dear.
No, I think it's important. Like, number one, and I'll put the coaches harder on them. We'll bring some emotion out of this. That's why Georgia composes herself. Goals are relative. Like,
Yeah.
if you are a debut marathon runner and you've no running experience whatsoever, and you've trained this whole time to go and trained a year, 2 years to get on the start line of a marathon, finishing that marathon is such a huge achievement. You cannot compare that to someone who has run 15 marathons and is done athletics their whole life. Like, it's just not apples and apples. So
Yeah.
if you're a non-runner and you think sub 4 is like your Olympic gold medal, like, go chase it. Don't be afraid of it. Like, it's all relative. No one will think it's any less impressive. Number two, if you put your goal, imagine if people didn't put their goals out there. Imagine if you didn't put them in, not even put them into the universe. Tell your husband, tell your wife, tell your best friend, like, hey, you know what? Like, I think I want to try and go do this. I want to go start that business. I want to go chase that goal. So imagine how boring the world would be if we didn't have those people. Just actually think about the amount of, like, even on the world stage, people who call their shot and say, like, hey, I'm going to go do this, and they go and do it. And we treat them like heroes. Why is it any different when a Georgia goes, I'm going to run a sub 4 marathon, or I say I'm going to do a sub 10 hour Ironman? Like, it's no less impressive. It's just different.
Yeah.
And then the third part of that is, you said all the more experienced people encouraged you. So for all the fucking internet haters out there and the people who are afraid of people on the internet, shit doesn't roll uphill, mate. No, you'll never get hate from someone doing better than you. And it's the same. We have the same thing in Ironman. Like, if you go out there and you perform really well, not even if you perform really well, if you just go out there and do the damn thing, all the pros, all the elite age groupers will say, mate, unreal. Fucking congratulations. It's only the people who are just a bit afraid, a bit not willing to put themselves out there, who are a bit conservative, who will be like, you know what, fuck that person. So I think it's really important. Number one, goals are relative. Number two, don't be afraid to put yourself out there. You don't have to do it on social media. Tell your friends, tell your partner, tell whoever, tell someone important, because it does help. It does help keep you accountable. And I promise you that the only person who would ever give you a hard time is someone doing worse than you. So keep that in mind.
I love that. And I think that's probably a really great way to end the episode. But I just want to say congratulations to anyone who ran yesterday. And a big congratulations to the Performance Project athletes. There were some incredible PBs yesterday. Do you want to quickly run us through some of your athletes' PBs?
Georgia Hillis, 3:56:55. Nick ran, George's husband ran 3:26. His goal was 3:30. We had Jordan, who wanted to run sub 4. She ran sub 4 at Gold Coast and then said, I just want to do Sydney for fun. Ended up running a 3:47:40, which was just wild. We had Blake, who ran a 4:02:29. We had Megan, who ran 4:51. Her goal was under 5 hours. We had Mads, who wanted to run sub 4:30. She ran 4:25. We had Rosie, who wanted to run sub 4. She ran 3:58. We had Ryan, who wanted to run sub 4, ran 3:54:59. They were definitely some of our standout.
Elise?
Elise. Oh my God, Elise. How did I miss her?
I was going to say, you can't forget Elise, the most amazing story.
I feel like, that's why, because she doesn't have a photo on her app. Elise wanted to run a 4.5 hour marathon. 4 hours, 30 minutes.
Elise is a mum too, isn't she?
Elise is a mum. Elise is a normal person. She works a day job. She trained 3 to 4 times per week. And she just was super consistent, laid the brick every single day. She ran 3:48:50.
And she was still so humble afterwards. She didn't even want to talk about it.
Yeah, she's like, that was okay, wasn't it? I was like, I just called her a liar. I'm like, nah, there's no way this is like your debut performance. And she was just like, I didn't think I could run sub 4. And I was just like, so many good performances. Just, I said, I'll get emotional if I start talking about them, because same as Georgia, like, I get to see all of the, I know the story behind it all. So, like, I know Georgia's injuries. I know Nick's anxiety about, like, keeping everything fucking locked in and no margin for error. I know Elise is not always the most confident person. She just like wants to like just be safe and like all of these different things. And I'm just like, to see them all go out there, and it's like that's how we came up with the mantra, like do hard things. It's like we just force ourselves to keep doing hard things. And when you do hard things over and over and over again, great things happen. So everyone had a great thing happen on Sunday.
Yeah, it was an amazing day, and we're all very grateful. We had so much fun, but yeah, I think that is the perfect way to end our amazing episode 33, my recap of Sydney Marathon 2025. As always, guys, jump over to Instagram and follow us at beyondthefinishline_pod, and make sure you follow us over wherever you listen to your podcasts. It really helps us if you share the podcast with your friends on your socials, like, download, subscribe, all of those things, so that our episode pops up in your feed when it's ready. I just want to say thank you so much for all of your support before I start getting all emotional again. Thank you again. Love you so much. See you soon.
Hey, Root.
Bye.